Happy Memorial Day weekend. I was going to take the day off and just hang out, and there's some really good stuff that was going on today. I just loaded in a bunch of paintings for my first Nashville art show, which I'm really excited about. Um, so if you're in Nashville and June 2nd, you want to come and check it out, it's going to be at 69 Arcade down in downtown Nashville. So let's get into it. This weekend has been blown up with Twitter and YouTube and all these things about what's happening with Tommy Robinson. He's a very supposedly controversial person because he focuses on the exploitation and the child grooming within London in the poor neighborhoods of gangs that apparently tend to be Islamic gangs that come from different countries that are systematically taking small girls, maybe even small boys, and turning them into a commodity for sex trafficking. And yet he's the enemy. I've watched Tommy for a while, and because of the realms that I'm in, it can get really tricky to talk about him because the last few years, most of the media that has been privy to people that are on the left or in the arts or whatnot, they always frame him as being a racist and a nationalist and a white supremacist and a Nazi and all these different things. I finally have to say something. And I only know a few people on YouTube, and I know a few people on Facebook, and I do know a lot of people in human form. I do. But regardless, on this platform, this issue is so, it's embedded in me. This idea of sexually molesting small children. I don't care if you're Islamic. I don't care if you are just, if you're white, black, you're in some kind of crazy cult. I don't care if you're Mormon, think it's okay. I don't care if you're a Catholic priest. Whatever the situation is, there is something so unbelievably inherently wrong in our society that is so, it's on such a mass level. And yet, everyone who wants to sit there and say that they are self-righteous and wanting to help the animals and help the environment and climate change, no one wants to protect the kids. Even in your own families, have you in your own family had to deal with a situation where a family member or someone outside the family has hurt, molested, systematically groomed one of your young family members into thinking that it's absolutely 100% okay to go into a conversation of giving your body away at a young age to someone who they don't want to marry you, they don't want to have anything good for you, they don't have any dignity for you, they want to use up your innocence and your physical beauty. And they want to groom you into thinking that that is the way to exist in the world and pawn you off to other people to say that that's what love is or that's what connection is. And they make money off of it. Or they tell you that you'll get money for it if you allow yourself to be involved in this conversation. Listen, I'm a very kind, loving, understanding, empathetic person. But I'm going to tell you something. Those folks, they don't want to come by me. And you should feel the same inherent rage. Every single derivative economy thrives off the inherent abuse and trauma that is instilled in people when they're small children. Every other derivative economy, comfort food, psychology, sickness, mental illness, sadomasochism, porn. I mean, you go on and on and on. Everything has become a band-aid of making money off the fact that someone has felt extreme trauma, abuse, and unlove. When are we going to get that? Because I'm sick and tired of seeing people running for a cause. You're going to run for a cause, you're going to walk for a cause, you're going to give money to some kind of charity that actually creates these problems in the first place. But you've got someone like Tommy, and I don't care what you personally have heard from your media that tells you that he's a bad person. This is someone in his own neighborhood, okay? He is seeing things on the ground from his own neighborhood of small children, and they can be white, they can be black, they can be Islamic, they can be every culture in the book in his own neighborhood. He doesn't care. The point is, they're small children literally getting pulled into these realms of people gangbanging them and telling them that that is their worth in life. And you're going to sit there and put him in jail? And you're not going to focus on the bastards that are going out every single day trying to objectify, traumatize, and destroy the innocence of small children in your own community? Are you fucking kidding me? I've watched this happen in my own community since I was a kid. I saw it happening in Pittsburgh and the city all the time. And when I went back, I saw the same thing. When I went to Los Angeles, I saw it. You know, a lot of my art talks about this stuff and tries to actually raise awareness to this and try to create dignity with people and wake them up to these economies. Wake them up to this. It's like a mental poison. It's like, but I think this is something that happens with people. If it happened to me and no one stood up for me, good enough for them to get it too. There's something sick. I gotta plug in right now because I just quickly jumped online. I didn't really pay attention to my battery or anything like that because I'm fired up, man. I'll tell you what, this is the one thing that really fires me up. And for those of you who know me personally, you know why. You know why this fires me up like no one's business. And like I said, I'm a pretty cool chick. And I like people. And I like to focus on fun things. But this kind of stuff, you don't want to cross my path. You do not want to cross my path. And that's how it should be. That's how it should be. When you sit there and you allow your own child to be abused because you personally think that's the only way you're going to get ahead in life, and you turn a blind eye, or if you're a father or a grandfather and you think it's okay to molest your own child or your grandchild, or you go across countries, you become a tourist, and you think it's okay to go to other countries and buy a child, a 12-year-old, a 14-year-old, a 6-year-old for $10 because they're starving and their parents mentally think that that's better for their own kid than looking at other resources that they've got in this world to create dignity and maintain that innocence for their own child. And you go there and you do that? Or maybe you watch porn. It's energy vampirism. It's a sickness. It's a sickness. It's ugly old men that are so twisted in their own minds. They don't know what love is. They don't know what love is. They know energy absorption. There's I'm trying to put into words what, like, there's a spiritual facet to this whole pedophilia thing that, like, they want to gain the innocence and the beauty of something young. Because it's, I mean, you can put your wazoo in whatever. Why do they have to focus on kids? The innocent ones. Why? I mean, in this culture, you know, in Western culture now, I mean, like, you know, go on Tinder and hook up with someone. Why do you have to literally be a predator? Why do you have to sadistically go after the innocent? Why? It's like it's demonic. I mean, at the end of the day, you can call it whatever it is, but it's demonic. And I think what happens too, because I've talked with so many people that have had to go through this, and it's unfortunate how many people I've had to know that have gone through this. The common denominator is they feel that they've lost their soul. They feel like they've lost their connection to God. The actual act creates like an instillment of inherent negativity that they'll never feel their own power in this world. They'll never feel their own real dignity again. They've lost something inherently. Is that the real game? Is that what's really going on? I think a lot of people that get involved with this kind of stuff on a lower level, it's just a subconscious urge. They don't understand what's driving them, because maybe, you know, someone hurt them a long time ago, and they don't understand fully why now they have this, like, it's like a demonic parasite in them to want to pass the hot potato to somebody else. And I think maybe that's why there's so many people that want to ignore this issue, because it's like, well, if it happened to me, no one stood for me, so whatever, let it happen to them too. I had to deal with it, let them deal with it too. That is sick. That is sick. To go through something so horrendous and not have the decency to decide for yourself, you know, if I've gone through this, or I've had close friends go through this, and I see the destruction that happens with this, I have to stand up for this. I have to. You know? It warps people's minds. It makes you think that your worth is how someone wants to use you at any given moment. And then you start celebrating it. I mean, so there's no reason, there's no coincidence that nowadays there are so many more. By the way, thank you so much for all the comments, guys. I mean, I'm just like focused right now on what I'm trying to say, because I really am just trying to get these thoughts through as clearly as possible. But I'm reading what you're saying, and I appreciate all the different comments. And there's someone that's talking some, I don't know what you're trying to say about the whole demonic I have no soul thing. Can you expand on that? Like, how did you find me, and why are you posting this stuff about saying that you feel that you don't have a soul? Because I can promise you that you do. I can promise you that you do. And maybe feminism, yeah, that's true. No, yeah, okay, so Gem 10, thank you. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, like this whole feminism thing. And that's the funny thing too, is like the feminists don't stand up for this either. And a lot of times those feminists, they were the ones that are abused. That's why they're like freaking out about men all the time, because they were abused as kids. But they want to sit there and focus on random stuff like Trump, but they don't want to sit there and fight about child trafficking. But they don't want to pay attention that Trump is actually trying to raise awareness to this stuff. You know, and the bills that he put through that said we're going to pull everybody's funding and their personal money and their assets and their resources if we find out they're connected to human trafficking. Dude, that means he's going after George Soros. You know, that's the only way to fight these high level people, is to have to enact a law that says if you are not convicted but accused, because these mother effers, they've got so much money and so many lawyers. I mean, like, they have an entire corporation building of lawyers, like Reed Smith in Pittsburgh, okay, covers these guys. Okay, we're talking multi-billion-dollar lawyers that have, they're like 200 lawyers that will like fight in a heartbeat for George Soros to focus on getting him out of all the atrocities that he does. And as long as he has his money, and as long as he has his resources, as long as the Clintons have that, as long as all these high-level pedophiles have that, they'll never be convicted. And the trickle-down culture that they're trying so hard to push, that's pervasive in every single major city, because the mafia is involved in every single major city. Who owns the mafia? Freaking Vatican. Who's connected to Vatican? The Queen. Why do you think the Queen, who does the Queen knight? Culture changers. Which specific culture changers does she knight? The ones that are always trying through entertainment, music, arts, politics, and policy to degrade society and create a bestial world so that everybody is owned and becomes part of a bestial society. No one has any individual dignity. No one feels the right and the freedom to be able to live out their own conscience. Think about that. I know this. It's in my family. My 5th grade uncle is General John Stark, who was part of the Revolutionary War, and he was the one that said, live free or die. Now, that whole thing has been so twisted about what the revolution was about, and there's a lot of hatred about white people it being involved in that. Well, guess what? This is what it was really about. Institutionalized slavery through culture. Sexualizing kids. Sacrificing kids. Focusing your energy on lower gods that are not the true God. These are all real cultures that were keeping everybody in slavery for their own purpose. And there were a few people that realized, wait a second, this is bullshit. And we can live free and give each other dignity. Thank you. Thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate that, Jem. Thank you. And I look forward to more of your comments. I'm interested. I appreciate that. Thanks for the connection. Why can't we live out dignity? Why can't we live in a culture that we can truly create imagination and abundance and joy and love? And I'm not talking this hippy-dippy love. I'm talking about like breathing life into things and appreciating it and maintaining everyone's dignity and innocence so that they can feel that they can live out their own conscience. That's what I feel like at the ultimate, at the end of the day, maybe that's what this whole pedophilia thing's about. It like neuters everybody. It traumatizes everybody on such a soul level that they can't feel that freedom anymore. And then the worst part about it too is that after they go through that initial abuse, if they try to reach out to those that they think that love them or that trust them, 9 times out of 10, those trusted people say, shut up and deal with it, because they're ashamed of their image. Sorry, it's really bright. They're ashamed of the family image. Keep it quiet. We can't let anyone know that if you're like a wealthy, Western society thing, or if you're poor and you're in maybe a Kenyan country, because I've been watching these, oh my gosh, I've been watching these documentaries like for the last, I don't know, 2 hours. Like after I loaded in my art, I just came home and I'm just like, dude, what's going on with Tommy? And then I pulled up the stuff on YouTube, and I looked up international documentaries about child trafficking. Every single country has one, including our own. Through Child Protection Services is a huge one that traffics kids. They take kids from poor, I mean, not perfect families, but they're not destroying them, and they put them into actual pedophile families as foster families. I mean, it's so effed. It's so effed. And then if you actually are in a hereditary pedophilia family, no one's going to help you, because they're all going to make sure you stay quiet. This is sick stuff. This is really sick stuff. This isn't stuff, and I want to preface this isn't something that I want to think about, I'll be honest. It's not something that I naturally gravitate to. I really try to gravitate towards the joy in life, connection with people, trying to just make someone else's day good, creating beauty, creating connection, having campfires where people can come and enjoy. But the thing is this issue has come up over and over and over and over and over again in my personal world, and with those that I have been associated with in the art world, in all kinds of different ways. And so I'm not one of those people that can just tune out and go, I'm going to ignore that because I just want to be happy. Because I think that's really disrespectful to the people that I care about that are going through these things. When I hear it and I see it, I stand up for it, because I want them to know that I care. I want them to know that what they went through matters, and it's bullshit. And those jagoffs, because in Pittsburgh we say jagoff. Pedophilia is the world created. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like the whole Kinsey report, trying to normalize pedophilia through the Kinsey report. And it gave everyone an excuse to think that was a normal thing. So it's important for me, with people that I care about, that I've seen them go through so much pain with this. And I've seen how it's restricted their ability to live in freedom in this life because of that. There's a lot of trust issues, there's a lot of faith issues, there's a lot of self-destruction, there's a lot of self-sabotage. And the worst part about it too is that it creates this is another thing that is really difficult with the whole pedophilia thing. And when you are imprinted as your first sexual experience to be so hateful, it's an imprint. That imprint that you get, subconsciously you think that is going to be love. And so women or men that were molested as kids through complete abuse or exploitation, they will consistently recreate the dynamic in others as they get older because that's what's familiar. That was the imprint. And it's such a heinous imprint to give someone, and then to have to try to find other people that are willing to have that same gnarly conversation through your life. It's passing the hot potato. There, you know, and I mean, I don't know about you guys, but there have been some instances where I've had to sit and I've had to listen to some people tell me about how their own father did things, terrible, terrible, terrible things. And because it's normal, because in their mind it's familiar, they can't really objectively see it as something truly bad, because I think that they would literally go crazy. And not only that, it's one of the most heinous things that a father could do. Because if you know Father God, like the true God, to have a human father do the exact opposite, and to have a little girl or little boy have to navigate trying to figure out the difference, I don't know if they can come out of it, I'll be honest. I mean, like, I pray all the time for some of those people that I know, but oh my God, I mean, there's something in your core that when you hear this, oh my God, we need to stop this. It's not a pretty conversation for most, you know, people that just want to go about their day. But it's the underbelly of everything that is destroying our society on a global level. It has nothing to do with just America. It has nothing to do with just Britain. It has nothing to do with just Europe. It has nothing, it's happening everywhere. In Africa, in the Middle East, in Russia. They're selling Eastern European young girls all day long through Turkey. All the time. Their own dads are selling their beautiful girls. You know? Kids in Haiti are being sold off. This has nothing to do with race, religion, individual culture. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. And we need to stand up for these kids, because why are we bringing kids into the world in the first place? Me too. My heart breaks all the time. I pray all the time. Because when you're a kid, everything is amazing. I've always had this philosophy that I wanted to maintain the heart of a child while gaining the wisdom of the old and learning how to maintain the balance of the two in order to live the best life possible. And I think that's what's kept me physically young while dealing with so many heavy things that get me wise as a serpent, but I'm not going to feed into it. I hold on to my joy and I hold on to my innocence on some level. And there's not that many people that can be that strong with some of the things I've gone through or heard or been privy to, you know. So there's no reason for us to put all of ourselves in that lion's den to test our strength. Let's just protect the kids. Can we do that? Can we do that? Can we be wise as serpents and want to hold on to the innocence? It'd be pretty good. Let's get Tommy out of jail, please. Because if Tommy stays in jail, they're gonna kill him. Tommy is not a racist and Tommy's not a Nazi. Tommy is just a man in his own community who's willing to stand up for what's right. He's someone, one of the few in his own neighborhood, regardless of how he could be hurt, he could be killed. And look at the people that are trying to go against him. They're fucking pedophiles. They're psychopaths, whether it's the British government or the nasty mafia freaking gang nasty people that are doing this to kids. Check out Tommy Robinson. Tommy Robinson, he's in jail right now in London because he was trying to raise awareness to these gang rape and grooming gangs in these low end poverty neighborhoods in London. They were taking little girls. They're not, the government wasn't really worried so much about the criminals as much as they were worried about Tommy. And on Saturday, they put him in jail for 13 months alongside these people that are in the jails. They're going to kill him. So I've been praying since Saturday that, you know, he just is in this bell jar, that no one's going to be able to touch him. And when I pray, it's hard. It's tough. I mean, like, I'm a warrior with that. And so I pray, I hope that all of you guys will do the same thing too. And he gets out and right will prevail, you know, because the only reason, thank you, the only reason evil thrives is because good people stay silent. It's the only reason. I gotta run because I am going to do something joyful tonight. I've got to support a friend putting on a music event. And we're going to just put joy out into the world. And we're going to just breathe life and make some good stuff happen. But let's not forget the kids that are in these situations that need our awareness. They need us to see them. They need us to talk about these things. They need us to support them. And we need to support the other adults that are putting their butts on the line to expose this as well. And if we let them down, we let our own kids down. And we let our future down. Okay? All right. Good night. Thanks, everybody. And I really appreciate all the comments. It was pretty awesome tonight. You guys rock. Soban, thank you so much. Jem, the only people right now, Jem, that are getting hurt are the victims of this kind of junk. So I'm not too worried about the end game for some of these bastards. Trust me. Unfortunately, I've personally been privy to some of these assholes that do really terrible stuff, and I can promise you, if you knew these people, you wouldn't worry about their future, worry about them getting hurt or not. They're evil to the core. So whatever future they've got, whether it's hurt, let them have it, because they've created so much hurt for so many people, and they get off on it. They're sick people. I'm not worried about them not getting hurt. There's a few people I'd love to have 5 minutes in a room with, and I'd have a really good time with that. Again, we got to stand up and be courageous. And we know when to love, and we know when to stand up and be mama bears, right? Sometimes we got to be mama bears. So, all right. Officially, I got to go. So you guys have a great night, and happy Memorial Day. And, oh, I know. Exactly, Jen. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So anyway, all right, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Peace out.